Holy balls. I almost had to get a Tuivasa tattoo on me. Not saying I didn't want that, but that was quite the fight, quite the main event, quite the afternoon because it was in Paris. So afternoon here watching the card. But from a fan perspective, that card was really fun to watch. From a betting perspective, I got murdered. We'll say that. I got absolutely murdered. Welcome back to Hey Jive Picks. I'm your host, founder, editor, and producer, Hayden Iverson. Go check me out on TikTok at Hey Jive Picks, and we added an Instagram and Twitter at Hey Jive Picks as well. Go check us out on those. Toss a follow, toss a like, toss a subscription down, toss a like down. That'd be much appreciated. Put a lot of time into these, and I enjoy doing it. So any kind of support is always appreciated. Thank you very much. Going to be looking into Twitch streaming as well. That's in the works. Very much in the works. But we will get right into the recap of this UFC Paris. Guess we will start with the fight picks. I went 7-5, so not great. Got the Gane right. I had Vettori for some reason. That was a dumb play. I had Kopylov. I had Makdessi, which was kind of a dumb play too. Jordan disappointed. Quinones looked really good. He won. Imayev looked pretty good. Magomedov looked very good. Santani looked very good. And then Figalac, that was a doozy. And then I picked Perez for some reason. And then Gomi. So 7-5 for the picks. And for the bets, damn near got swept. We went down 10.5 units, so that was not good. I had a lot of dog shots, which did not come through. I guess not many dogs came through on the card. I guess Kopylov was like a very, very slight dog. Nathaniel Wood was a dog, came through. Quinones was a slight dog. Ferguson was a dog. Not a ton of dogs. So 4 dogs, right? Zium, Quinones, Wood, and Kopylov. So 4 out of 12 fights, and the 4 that came through were not big dogs. The biggest dog being Ferguson in that one. And, of course, Adam Figalac was one of my bigger plays this week, so that sucked ass. I won't go through the whole betting card because it's just makes me want to vomit. But yeah, we're gonna look to turn this around next week at UFC 279. But let's go over the whole card, starting with the main event: Ciryl Gane, Tuivasa. That was I believe it was fight of the night. Got crowned fight of the night, rightfully so. That was insane. It's very, 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 very fair to say that any fight that Tuivasa is in is going to be an absolute banger because he comes to swing. And in my eyes, I thought maybe this could turn out to be a boring fight because Ciryl Gane's going to be very hesitant to throw with Ty or even be in range at all. I think you try to like run away, but he didn't do that. He stood in there and swung back on many occasions. Maybe that's just because Tuivasa can lure his opponents into doing that, but it was very fun to watch. First round, Ciryl Gane kind of chips away at him, doing exactly what he should be doing. Tuivasa's having trouble connecting, but he is getting into range. And then in round 2, Tuivasa clips him. My jaw absolutely drops. I'm in shock. I'm like, wow, Tuivasa has done this again. He's done this again, and he's going to be fighting for the heavyweight title. And then Ciryl Gane gets knocked out for like a second or two, then comes back to it, recovers very quickly. Props to him for that. It's always good to see, fighters that are kind of unproven as far as toughness goes. To see them like bounce back after getting clipped like that. It's fun to see that them battle through the adversity like that. But Gane comes back, freaking teep kicks up the middle to Ty's gut. Ty's like should be throwing up. He's getting kicked in the gut, and then gets kicked in the head, and it damn near looks like he gets knocked out, but it also looks like he's faking getting knocked out, and then comes back with just a absolute massive right hook. Completely whiffs. Ciryl Gane comes with a left hook. Ty ducks under it. And then they're just kind of back and forth. That's really when the brawl started, round 2. After Gane got clipped, then it was kind of, Gane's kind of sitting in there throwing with him. Ty's throwing. And then round 3, it's pretty much the same thing. Gane's touching him very easily now. Ty's pretty tired. Those body kicks are taking a toll on him. It's very obvious that Ty's striking defense is not good. Especially, his head movement's okay, but he's just not as fleet of foot. Not nearly as fleet of foot as Ciryl Gane, but not as fleet of foot as most heavyweights, because he gets hit a lot. His chin is very good, but if he's got to take one to give one, it seems like. And at range, he's just going to get pieced up, which he did get pieced up. He's getting his face jabbed off. He's getting kicked to the body a ton. Hard kicks, too, not just touching him. At this point, I have the play on Tai Tuivasa by knockout, and then I also have the play on Ciryl Gane in round 4 or 5. So I'm just wanting Tai to survive to the 4th round, because this is round 3. And I'm like, maybe you just take a round off and get your win back so you can come back in the 4th. But no, that's not how Tai fights. Tai wants to throw down and ultimately gets clipped too many times. The controversial hammer fist to the back of the head. It didn't look the most legal, but I think the outcome stays the same had that not happened. So props to Ciryl Gane for sticking in there. Props to Tai Tuivasa for sticking in there. Ty's, both fighters gained a lot of fans in that fight. If only Ty could have hung on for another 35 seconds and just got knocked out in round 4, I would have been feeling decent. That would have helped a lot, because it was a rough night betting perspective, but is what it is. Very good main event. We'll move on though. Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori. I thought this fight would be a lot closer than it was. With it being 3 rounds, I thought it could be a very greasy decision. First round was greasy in that way, and then after that, it was just Whittaker looked levels ahead of Vettori. Vettori much slower. Still got that granite chin, but you can't really live off your chin. Eventually it'll go. Everyone is so impressed by his chin, but it's okay, you're getting hit. So I don't know, maybe be more try to move out of the way and not get hit. But ultimately, Whittaker looked like one of the best middleweights on the planet, like he is, and it's pretty clear that it's him and Adesanya, and then maybe Alex Pereira after he fights Adesanya to see where he's at. But, bro, if Izzy wasn't a person, Whittaker would have been champ for a long time, a long time. He'd still be champ from when he started. So that's crazy. That is crazy. I'm interested to see what they do with Whittaker next. It's probably going to be based off of what happens in the Izzy and Pereira fight, but interested to see how that works out. Moving on, Nasruddin Imayev and Joaquin Buckley. I had Imayev in the parlay that got screwed by Charles Jourdain, but I I know a lot of people were on Buckley with his knockout power, and I don't know. He's a dog. Like, he's going to come to fight. And just watching tape on Imayev, this guy's really, really skilled. And he's massive, too. Like, he towered over Joaquin. I watched, like, the weigh-ins, and when they faced off, it was like he was just looking down at him. It's a hard visual to look at and be like, yeah, this guy has a really good chance to win in Joaquin Buckley. Like, nah, he's got like 5-6 inches on him, and he's built too. He's not just some stick out there. So Imayev could be a problem in the middleweight division. Interested to see who they give him next. It should be somebody ranked above him. Very, very solid on the feet. I mean, his wrestling, he didn't like push his wrestling a ton, but his wrestling looked okay. Joaquin is just such a dog. Like, that third round, he won the third round in my opinion. I don't know how one of the judges gave the third round to Nazareth, but third round he came out. He knew he was down 2-0 on the cards, so he came out hot. And at the end of the round, like, he just fell to the ground because he was gassed. He left it all out there. You got to respect that. But Imayev, just the more skilled fighter, and gets the win there. Moving on, Alisio Dikiriko, Roman Kopylov. I had the unit play on Kopylov. The only bet that I won was this one. And I was like, thought Kopylov should have been favored. That's why I made the bet. And ultimately he wins, gets the TKO in the third, or the KO, I guess. It was a pretty clean knockout in the third round. But overall, Kopylov looked so much better on the feet. And then at the end of round 2, he looked like he was kind of starting to gas out. And his first 2 UFC fights, he got finished in the third round, I believe. Third round, he got submitted by Carl Robertson, and then I don't know if he got finished in the third round by Duraev, but he got like destroyed in the third round. So in the third round, going into the third round, I'm like, oh no, he's kind of looking like he's gassing out, and I'm a little concerned because I haven't won a ticket. I haven't won a bet the entire night, and I'm like, just my luck, he's going to tire out and get finished in the third after banking the first and second round. But he comes out and gets the KO in the third round. Alisio Dikiriko is probably getting cut. Didn't look very good. So that's that. Next fight, William Gomi and Jarno Aarons. This one I won't talk about too much. This was like Dana White contender shit. It was not main card worthy at all. Like, some of the fights they put on main cards, some of the fights they put on prelims, it's like, I'm not sure what the motive is here. Like, to put these guys on the main card, both of them making their UFC debut. Both of them are very young. Like, I don't know, maybe you want to, like, a Star is Born kind of thing, but it is what it is. Gomi gets the win. Jarno Aarons, I guess the most exciting part of the fight was when Jarno almost had him in that triangle at the end. But it wasn't really, it was too low. It wasn't high enough around the neck. It was more on the head, and Gomi slips out of it and gets the win, 29-28 on 2 of the judges' scorecards, and then 29-29. So interesting there. Moving on to the biggest disappointment on the card, in my opinion, Charles Jourdain, Nathaniel Wood. This one, I mean, it was a pretty good fight, pretty back and forth, but it was like Nathaniel Wood coming in as the dog just looked so crisp. In my preview, my predictions, I initially took Nathaniel Wood, and I figured he would be more technical, and this one would go to decision. And I thought it could be a little bit of a greasy decision, but I thought just the technicality that Nathaniel Wood possesses would keep him from taking damage and also could mix it up a little bit more. And ultimately that was the case. But I had a change of heart throughout the week, and I went with Jourdain. I had a unit, I think it was a unit and a half on him straight up. And then I had him part of the Paris +1 parlay that I gave out on TikTok that Charles Jourdain fucked up. So thank you, Charles Jourdain. But, I mean, Charles is super exciting to watch fight, and he comes to play. He comes to fight, I guess you'd say. He comes to fight, which is why I wanted to back him. It's like this guy has so much fire under him. It's hard to root against him, and it's hard to pick someone against him because he seems so confident and so willing to go in there and scrap, which is, people that you want to back as a bettor, someone that's willing to go out there and die for you. I mean, not for me, but like die for the fight. But Nathaniel Wood, just more technical, mixed it up more. Literally, he's getting these trip takedowns that looked just terrible for Charles Jourdain. Like when a guy can just push you and put his leg under your leg and just push you and then you fall down, that just doesn't look good. Like it would look better it would look better for Charles Jourdain if Nathaniel Wood like double legged him and took him down, because that takes way more energy than just a quick trip. Is what it is. Very disappointing, but whatever. You live and you learn. Interested. I mean, Charles Jourdain is always going to have fun fights. But for Nathaniel Wood, could be a real contender in the featherweight division. He did look a little small, but like he overcame that. So whatever, Move on though. Abus Magomedov and Dustin Stlfish. This was like an absolute murder. Magomedov with the front kick. I'm pretty sure his big toe like went in the mouth of Dustin Stlfish. Which was like hilarious to see. He just never saw it coming. Straight foot to the mouth, and stuns him. I don't know how he didn't get knocked out from that, but stuns him, and then Abus comes with the uppercut, the stance switch uppercut. That was really pretty to finish him off. But yeah, Dustin, not looking good for you. Looking pretty good for Magomedov. Never bet against a Magomedov, man. Never bet against a Magomedov. What is that, middleweight? Yeah, middleweight. So, I don't know. Magomedov could be something for the middleweight division, but time will tell. Moving on, John Makdessi and Nazareth Haqparast. This one, I had a play on Makdessi by decision and a unit play on him on the money line as a dog. This was more of a fade on Nazareth. I just wasn't impressed like watching any of his film. So I thought a veteran dog here who's good with the stand-up, very technical with the stand-up, could give him some issues, but ultimately it just wasn't... he just looked slower, much slower. Nazareth did look pretty good, but overall, like, I thought the fight IQ of Nazareth just wasn't good. Like, you're piecing him up when you're in the pocket with him. You clearly have a speed advantage, but you're just not really engaging too much. Makdessi is the one walking you down, and you're kind of floating around the octagon, engaging and then pulling out, engaging, pulling out. But if you were the one that kind of, if you were like, fuck that, I'm going to take the fight to him, you could have easily got the finish. You have the much faster hands. And I don't know if this was just like you wanted to play it safe because you were on a 2-fight losing streak, but that doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know. It's that one was like, it's just a weird one. Just a weird one is what it is, and I'll leave it at that. To me, Makdessi totally won that third round. I don't know how two judges gave it to Nazareth, but whatever. Moving on, Ferguson and Michael Figalac, or Mihal, I think it's Mihal Figalac. This one was like the biggest fucking disappointment on the card. I had 2.5 units parlayed with Figalac and Magomedov, and Figalac just completely looked terrible. I don't know if it was Figalac looking bad or Ferguson making these great improvements, but Ziam did not look good in his past few fights. I guess he was in his home country now. Had the crowd behind him. I believe the France fighters went 5-0. Yeah, 5-0 on the card. So if you just went with the favorites, you'd be looking pretty good right now. But Figalac, dude, shorter guy, but mostly loves to like pressure you, stay in your face, and really should be able to wrestle Ferguson. Ferguson wasn't this like wrestling guy, and then all of a sudden Ferguson pulls out like he's fucking Khabib out there. He's out there shooting double legs, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be this tall, lengthy guy that wants to stand at kicking range and have a kickboxing match, and now you're trying to double leg a guy that's shorter than you. Just a very weird fight, and I wanted to like scream when I was watching it because it was just disgusting to me. It's like, out of all the fights here, out of all the fighters here, the last person on this card I would expect to be shooting double legs constantly and getting them and controlling on top is Ferguson. And that is how it worked out. So Figalac gets out-grappled by Ferguson. That's not a good look. I would be interested to see if Figalac was like injured in some way or something and just felt like he needed to fight because it was his debut. Because he looked much better on film, but in Cage Warriors, Cage Warriors is a good promotion, so weird one there. I guess it could have just been the home crowd that got Ferguson the juice to get those takedowns and stay on top, but he looked pretty good. So interested to see if that was just a fluke, but whatever. No, moving on. Benoit, Santani, and Gabriel Miranda. I had Santani in the Paris. I should have just done a fucking 5-leg Paris parlay. That would have schmacked hard. But I had Benoit part of the Paris +1 parlay, which Jourdain fucked up. But other than that, at -300, it was like a little sketchy. I did think he was the better grappler, but it's just his defense on his feet is not good. Like, Miranda was piecing him up, and Miranda is a grappler. Miranda came out hot at the start, which I don't know if Benoit was like shocked by that, but Gabriel was kind of piecing him up on the feet right at the beginning. And then Benoit, I don't know, kind of like woke up and was like, I should probably wrestle this guy. So starts to wrestle him. And then ultimately Miranda like starts to take a combination of taking damage and gassing out. And then Benoit gets the TKO punches at the beginning of the second round. Miranda barely survived the first one. So you kind of saw that one coming into the second round. But that crowd went insane for Benoit. That was fun to listen to, fun to watch. Moving on, Khalid Taha and Christian Quinones. Khalid Taha, I really didn't have any confidence in either of these fighters. That's why I didn't bet on it. But I did pick Quinones because he looks like the more well-rounded, more like technical guy. Khalid's more like a throw hard and hope it lands. But Quinones, like the Brandon Moreno style. I know he like has trained with him in Tijuana, but more of like a touch and go, kind of a very bouncy type, very fast, and he's pretty big for the weight class, I guess. More so, Khalid Taha is just very small. Built, but like pretty short. So Quinones quickly got his range, quickly was like piecing him up from the outside, and then catches him with that right as Khalid's throwing and knocks him out. Some people would say that was like an early stoppage. I mean, I feel like the people that are saying that probably had money on Khalid Taha, but the guy got cracked and was covering up and not really fighting back. Quinones was pounding him, so I wouldn't be mad about that. Props to Quinones. Khalid Taha probably getting cut pretty soon. And the first fight on the card, absolutely disgusting. I had the read on Eileen Perez. I just wasn't a believer in Stephanie Edgar. Her only wins in the UFC were Shani Young and Jessica Rose Clark, and then she had lost to 125 or Tracy Cortez. She got out wrestled in that one. This fight was at 145, so up 20 pounds. Eileen Perez is a pretty thick girl. She definitely tried to gain some following with her antics throughout the week with the twerking, and I don't know, this girl loves the camera, I'll tell you that. But I thought, she could definitely hang with her on the feet, and if she could get takedowns, she could have good top pressure. And in a women's MMA match, it's like the skill gap is much slimmer than like if you're going to look at a minus 300 favorite for men's MMA. It's a little different. But Eileen kind of had the advantage on the feet, and then she would go in. The problem with this is Eileen goes for the body lock kind of around the waist, and more like a tackle, like fall into you kind of takedown, and that just doesn't work against Stephanie Edgar because she's gonna just grab your head and judo throw you. So with the headlock, and that happened like 3 times. Eileen survives the first round. Obviously getting out grappled. So I'm like, just stay on the feet. Like, don't clinch with her. You're gonna get thrown. Like, that's just gonna happen. She's kind of piecing her up a little, not piecing her up, but she's landing on the feet, and then gets to the ground, and Edgar chokes her out with the rear naked choke. So that was just not a good start to the night, and ultimately, I don't know. Edgar has a really good ground game. I'll say that. She has good takedowns. Obviously, a really good ground game. But I faded Edgar in her last fight against Maida Silva. So I'm like, yeah, I got the read on Edgar now. But Eileen Perez was not the girl to complete the fade with. Same with Mac Desi. Like, I had the fade on Nazareth. Mac Desi wasn't the guy to fade Nazareth with. I wanted to fade Edgar, and Eileen Perez was not the girl to fade Edgar with. But yeah, I guess that's it. And this was the first day of college football as well, and just yesterday. So I'm filming this on Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday. Got absolutely murdered on the books. So it is what it is. It would have been awesome to see Tuivasa win. That would have been nuts. But I'm glad it was a fun main event. It wasn't just a Cyril Gane stay to the outside and kick and punch. I mean, which is no knock to him. Like, he should do that because he's very good at it. But not always the most exciting to watch. Kind of like his Rosenstrike fight and like his Volkov fight too. It's like not the most fun to watch, but it's beautiful work. So yeah, 7-5 on UFC Paris. Not good. And down 10.5 units on the books. So we're going to be looking to bounce back for sure. We got UFC 279 next week. Should be a very fun one. Diaz and Chimaev in the main event. Going to be looking or start watching. I already have started watching film on some of the fighters, but getting that all written up and thought out. Should be getting that to you in a couple days. So stay tuned for that. Also, I've been posting the shorts on YouTube as well. So if you see those, drop a like on those. Once again, go. I'll put the link tree in the description. It's got the YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for the view. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate everything. And I will catch you in the next video, UFC 279. Until then, Sage Eye Picks, signing out.